I always tell people, you ever look at my Instagram and notice I don't post any pictures of my customers on Instagram? And why is that? The answer is because you don't want to see my customers. My customers look like your grandpa. Okay? The back and sides are tapered. The ears are clean. If there's anything on top, it's nicely layered and blended in. And I'm going to do it again in 2 weeks. And these are basic, simple, clean haircuts. And the reality is, it's the backbone of our business. It's the money-making part of our business. But here's the kicker. And this is the part that's uncomfortable for people. Haircuts don't matter. And I would guess that every single person listening to this right now, and every single person that will listen to this on replay later, is able to do haircuts good enough. Good enough to make the customer happy, good enough to get the customer to come back. Yet, we're constantly dropping big dollars on the next clipper. We're constantly going to a show and sitting in another haircutting class, but I'm down the hall teaching a business class, and Marv's down the other hall teaching another business class, and we got half a room full of people. Because our industry has told people, go to a cutting class. And I'm going to tell people ROI, return on investment. If you spend another hour in a cutting class and you spend another hour in a business class, you will get more that will help your business with the business class than you will with the haircut class.
I love it. It's so true, man. Let me ask you, were you ever caught up in that phase where you were so obsessed with trying to make sure the haircut was perfect? Because the era I came up in, Instagram was around, and this weird barbering thing that's been created amongst ourselves was it was starting to blow up. So like some of the first people I remember personally coming across on Instagram was like A-Rod, Papito Bless Hand, some of these guys, right? And so what I was coming up on was seeing a lot of these perfected, flawless haircuts. So for me, being a new barber, I was trying my best to put out those haircuts, and I was wrapped up in that for a while. Did you ever really deal with that, or did you know early on from jump that, hey, my job is to cut hair, make the customers happy, and keep the chair spinning?
You know, I'll tell you the quick story. Graduated from beauty school. I was working as an assistant and a shampoo girl, and I got promoted to stylist once I passed the test, got in this big upscale fancy full service salon. 1988, a haircut with me in that shop was $78. 1988, $78 in a fancy salon. And I was horrible. I mean, I was really, really bad. The joke is I used to tell people that I specialized in asymmetric haircuts. What that means is I couldn't get them even. Okay. However, we had training on Tuesday nights. We had Tuesday night training. You get a model. They got senior stylists and the owners and the managers and everybody. And one of the first Tuesday night training sessions, my owner said something to me. The owner of the shop said something to me that I have never forgotten. He looked at me and he says, "You know what your problem is?" I said, "No, what's that?" And he goes, "Your problem is your mouth is better than your hands." And you know what? He was right. And rather than say that's a problem I have to fix, because honestly, I've always been an average hair cutter. 3 Guinness World Records later, and I'm proud to tell you, I am an average hair cutter. When you rattle off names of some of these guys that create these unperfect pieces of work, first of all, I've never believed there's such a thing as perfect. And if there was, it was going to be elusive to me anyways. But I cannot produce work at that level. I never have. And to be very honest, I've never tried to, because I've never believed it was necessary for what I was doing in the business. Now, if you want to dominate social media, you better be able to produce work at that level. And by the way, I think we all understand that producing work at that level is 51% barbering and 49% social media and photography and editing and filtering and all those other important skills. But no, I never got caught up in that because it wasn't a thing, and I'd already found success without it. So my God, there was no reason to go after that. Why chase a target I can't hit?
Yeah, I remember earlier days of my career. I was actually sharing this story live earlier today. I remember one of the barbers that I worked with at the time, back early in my career, there was a time where I watched him put out 6 haircuts in an hour, right? 6. And at this time, I believe we were charging about $20 a cut. So you figure he's probably making $25, $30 a cut, right? So he probably made anywhere between $150, $180, right, in that hour. And me, I was across from him, and in that same hour, I did one haircut for that same $20 price point. So I probably got 25, 30 as well. I don't remember the specifics. But what I can remember is I remember watching him do that, and in my brain thinking what I was doing was better than what he was doing, because for me, I was focusing on quality over quantity, right? I was focused on perfecting the cut, and I was focused on making sure my fades were blurry fades, and I was trying to put out fades that were better than his. And even though he put out 6 in that time, I put out my 1, and in my mind, it was a better cut than the ones he was putting out. But at the end of the day, he made 6 times the amount of money that I made in that hour. And there was numerous days where he was able to leave hours earlier than I did, making more money than I did. But just being a newer barber and unsure of how to go, I'm thinking that what I'm doing is the right way to do it, not understanding that he was already at that point in his career where he understood that it's what the customer thinks that's important, and the customer values being in and out in a timely fashion and all these things that we're going to get into. But it's just interesting to me because I went through that phase that I see so many of these guys going through. And that's why I'm so passionate about a lot of the things that I speak on, especially more recently, because I'm trying my best to help some of these up and coming barbers that are getting lost in this highlight reel of social media. And I'm trying to save them from investing as much time, effort, and energy into what I did and what a lot of barbers did, and save them from that, so that way they can grow quicker and see success in their business quicker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, one of the ways I phrase that in my classes, I'll ask this question, and I'll challenge your audience now. I mean, we've got chat going on here. I ask the question, what is the purpose of a haircut? Why do we cut hair? And we get some interesting answers. People say, well, to make people look good. Well, have you ever been to Walmart? Yeah. That's not working. Why do we cut hair? To make your hair shorter than it is right now? Well, if that's the object of the game, there's a lot of different ways you can go about doing that. My definition, or my answer to the question, what is the purpose of a haircut? Why do we cut hair? Comes down to this. I believe, and I share, that the purpose of a haircut is to earn the right to do the next haircut. And here's what I mean by this. We have an unspoken, unwritten contract or agreement in our industry. Now, occasionally in my career, I've been in a barber shop or a hair salon where people pay ahead of time. They walk in and they pay, and then they get their haircut. But that is unusual. That is not the way our business generally operates. Generally speaking, we have an unspoken agreement. The agreement is, if you come to the shop and you sit in my chair, I will cut your hair, and when we are done, you will pay me. We never really discussed that. We've never asked a client, hey, show me the money first. Yeah, you got the money, right? I just want to see it. You don't have to give it to me, but I just want to make sure you have it. We operate on the honor system that I will cut your hair and you will pay me.